Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for Tower of God, Chapter 460, or Season 3, Episode 43. Now, really quick, I'm going to use the first 30 seconds to 2 minutes of this video to just talk about what's going on with the channel and Tower of God during this hiatus, in case you don't read any of the updates I post or whatever. But if you're not interested in that, or if you're marathoning this months after the fact, this first 2 minutes or so probably isn't going to really affect you too much. I mentioned it before in the community tab here on YouTube, and I linked to it on Twitter, but I'm starting on a new weekly schedule for the channel while we're on hiatus, and I'm still going to keep Monday and Tuesday as Tower of God days. So the way I'm going to do it is I missed a bunch of reviews in the past, and the ones that I missed, I'm going to catch up to them, post them on Mondays, and then on Tuesdays I'm going to be doing anime reviews episode by episode. I've said for a while I was going to do that. So yeah, that's basically it. That's basically what's going to be happening. Now, I'm only doing one review today, but in the future I might do 2 reviews on Mondays. I don't know, it's one of those things where I'm a lot more behind, I missed a lot more than I thought I did. So it's I kind of want to hurry up and get through them before we get done with hiatus. But then on the other side of things, I don't know how long hiatus is going to last. So if it lasts longer than I anticipated, it becomes a situation where it's okay, things are starting back up and I've still not caught up to things. Or if it lasts longer than I think, it's okay, I get done with everything and it's then I'm not sure what to do on the week to week. But aside from that, a lot of people have said they want more stuff like theories, like discussions. I have a bunch of those that are either planned or almost finished. Just know that a bunch of stuff like that is coming. I have a discussion series on rankers where I'm predicting what ranks they are and talking about every ranker. That's planned and that's coming. I will have just a lot more discussions and things like that. But yeah, either way, let's get into talking about this this chapter, because I don't want to spend too much time on this update stuff. So, holy crap, this chapter was amazing. I remember reading week to week, I loved the Walls arc, and even in memory I love it, but going back to reread some of this had me thinking, man, I would love to just go back and re-review some of the old chapters knowing what I know now, because I feel like this chapter was made even better knowing what I know now. So yeah, I loved the Walls arc. I think honestly it might be one of the best arcs in the series. I kind of lumped together everything that happened at the Wall with the Sleeping Forget-Me-Not and the Wall of Peaceful Coexistence, because we kind of jumped back and forth between the two and what was happening at each. So I kind of combined that all into just the Walls arc between the cage and the nest, and it's so good. This chapter had really cool fighting stuff and really good character development that I understand, I think, better since I'm coming at it at a place of hindsight. So if you're marathoning through my reviews chapter by chapter, this is being recorded when we're on hiatus during the middle of the Nest arc. So it's been a while since this actually happened, but we get to see White vs. Kallavan 1 and literally the first chapter of the White vs. Kallavan little sub arc, but also their first fight. And it was so cool. It was so cool after having seen White versus Kallavan, full powered, seeing one-armed Kallavan versus non-full power White. It was so cool. But we start from the very beginning. White tells Kane about Kallavan. I like this. This is smart. He's leveraging what he knows against Kallavan, that Kallavan was a member of Zahard's army. Not just a member, even a squadron commander. And Kallavan explains his plan. Yeah, free your sister, and I've decided to either tell her to join me or to kill her. And of course Kane's worried because she's she hated Zahard's empire. She's not going to just join you. So White also tells Kane to free Doan in order to help him, because he can't take Kallavan on his own. Hatsu objects to this because he's there with White at this point too. And all of this was really good. I actually really felt for Kane's character. From those of you who watch the channel weekly and know from future videos and stuff, I'm not a big fan of Doan, but I actually liked Kane a lot. Now Kallavan is just spitting here. Kallavan talks about how she's a warrior. This is her destiny. Whoever wakes her up is waking her up eventually because they want her power. There's always going to be war, so whenever she wakes up, she's going to go off to battle anyway. So Kallavan had a really, really good speech here, and I love Kane's line of, "To me, she's just my sister." That was so, so good too. Then White again tells Hatsu to run because he can't just protect him while fighting Kallavan at the same time. He doesn't know if he's going to die fighting Kallavan. And I just loved that. He didn't know if he was going to die, but he fights him anyway. I don't know. It was a really cool moment for White as a character. Even though like he's kind of still evil, he has these really, really cool and somewhat randomly heroic moments. We cut away from that to the Bamkunrak versus Delete fight, and again, this was a lot better. I mean, even I remember liking it at the time, but this is even better than I remember. I really, really enjoyed this. Bomb being buffed by the Firefish uses the tail transformation of the Red Thrissa for the first time. Rack makes jokes throughout about wanting a Firefish buff too. And I love the way that Delete is thinking about them. How he's like, oh, they're just regulars, whatever. But he's really analyzing their movements and their decisions and their teamwork. I really, really liked seeing from Delete's perspective of what Bamkun and Rack were like from this perspective of a ranker who doesn't really know them. I liked that a lot. Also, I really liked Delete's fencing type fighting style. That was really cool. So, you know what? Like, actually, I ended up liking Delete a lot this arc, too. I thought he was just going to be some random jobber getting deleted. But no, I actually really liked Delete. So, his fighting type is really cool. Bomb notes that he's really fast, but not as fast as Gato, who, of course, was a high ranker, and speed was sort of his specialty, his thing. But Kun and Rack are able to block Delete so that Bomb can destroy his needle. And I love, too, that when Bomb destroys his needle, as Bomb's fighting, he's thinking about the future where he'll have to fight Kallavan again, thinking, okay, I can do long-range Shinsu attacks, but there's no way they'd be powerful enough to hurt Kallavan because of how it's just absolutely insane his defense is. And he's thinking, my flare wave explosion has incredible power, especially now that he has like the zero stuff or whatever. It has incredible power, but you would have to get close enough to essentially touch Kallavan, which is extremely, extremely dangerous. But he thinks now that, okay, now I have the Red Thrissa's power, and the Red Thrissa's power is crazy strong. It was able to hurt Gato. It's crazy strong, and I don't really have to get as close. I have a lot more flexibility in my range with it. So again, I love Bomb strategizing for a future hypothetical fight against Kallavan during this situation. And I also love just the line at the end where he was thinking, where he's like, this will be enough to hurt Kallavan someday. And see, I love that. He's thinking, not now, but this is the first foundational step to get me to where I need to go someday. I really like that. Back to Kallavan and White. Kallavan is tanking White's attacks. The fight looks really, really great. He mentions that he watched a recording of the battle at the last station, which is a cool plot point, because that tells us that a lot of higher-ups, like, I mean, maybe Zahard himself is too arrogant to watch it, but you would think a lot of higher-ups probably watch that fight too if they're so interested, because it's probably extremely, extremely rare for FUG or for regulars, especially like that, to in some sort of way get the better of Zahard's army. So you'd think a lot of people, unless they're hiding it of course also, if there is a recording of it, who all has seen the exact details and what different characters are capable of doing. White then uses his soul forging sword ability to create Spinel, and it ends with White cutting Kallavan, which is a really, really cool ending. Also though, Spinel I actually like more than Cullinan. I actually think it might be White's coolest sword, aside from everybody loves the original Joaquin sword that we see when he like first shows up in the Hell Train. And I kind of agree with that too. I love that sword. It's a really good design. So it's either that sword or Spinel that I think is White's coolest looking sword. Compared to that, honestly, Kallavan is kind of a disappointing ultimate sword compared to how cool Spinel was at the time. At least design wise. I just like the way it looks more. But yeah, chapter was really, really great. I loved these fights, and getting to go back and reread them in order to take notes and do this review and everything was really, really fun. And also, it developed the characters really well too, and again, because I have the benefit of hindsight, I can really, really see where certain things that happened here came into play for developing characters later on. So that just made me like this even more. And so as a score, because the fights were so good and hype and the development was so good, I'm actually giving it 9.5 Soul Forged Swords out of 10. It was really, 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 really good. So yeah, that's where I'm at with this one. Now, the blog post didn't really have a ton of information I thought was super pertinent to what I wanted to talk about with reviewing this chapter, but one thing that I talked about on Twitter earlier that I just noticed because of reading this blog, there was a mention of the essence of nothingness, and I'm like, that's a weird way to talk about the essence of bravery. And then it hit me. I was like, hold on a second. This entire time, Shinsu Black Hole Sphere has been kind of I hate being rude like that, but kind of a crap translation. Like, Shinsu Black Hole Sphere has nothing to do with, like, Shinwan Ryu. Like, it doesn't act like a black hole. It doesn't necessarily need to be a sphere. Shinwan Ryu is the concept of moving Shinsu and controlling Shinsu in the way that Inner Regular does without needing a contract. So it's not really a singular thing like creating a sphere or sucking things into a black hole. So it doesn't make sense to call it that when that does not describe what it does at all. It's Shinwan Ryu, which literally would translate to Shin being divine, and if you want to do Wan Ryu, it could be circular flow, circular style, or if you cram together Wan Ryu into one word, it would be origin. So divine circular flow, divine origin, divine circular style. That makes a lot more sense for what it actually is. The literal translation makes more sense for what it is. So why would you change that to something that doesn't describe what it is and isn't what the literal translation is? So because I noticed, I was like, hold on, they called the essence of bravery something else. Does that mean the essence of bravery is another Shinsu Black Hole Sphere? Is another just kind of bad translation? So I looked it up, and it turns out, yeah, essence of bravery is not at all what the actual Korean words are. The actual Korean words, what were they? They were like Mui Jungso or something, like Mui Jungso, which is null essence, void essence, or essence of nothingness. And that sounds a lot cooler. Also, essence of bravery and essence of nothingness, neither one of them really describe what it does. It sort of feels more like essence of murder, essence of whoop-ass. What do I call it? I called it something else before, like months ago. That was like essence of meathead. Oh yeah, essence of meathead. That like better describes it. Like essence of murder was a joke that somebody else made that legitimately better describes it. But again, if essence of bravery doesn't describe it any better than the literal translation of essence of nothingness, why change that? Especially when essence of nothingness or null essence or void essence is a way cooler translation anyway. So since that is a better translation and a cooler translation, I'm probably still going to be stuck calling it Essence of Bravery, because that's what I've got in my head now, but I'd like to maybe start calling it something different. But yeah, either way, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. like if you did like the video, comment down there, tell me what you thought of this chapter or my thoughts on it and all that. Subscribe for more Tower of God, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated on stuff for the channel or talk to you there. If you'd like a link to the Discord server, just ask and I'll give you one. If you want to help support the channel on Patreon to keep more Tower of God videos and much more coming on the channel, it's patreon.com/Haku of the tubes, or a link will be in the description. But either way, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, these will be every Monday from now on until we're caught up or until the series comes back. And on Tuesdays we will have Tower of God anime reviews. But yeah, that is it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.